It's Sunday, 14th of September 25, and I'm just talking about the United Kingdom rally, which happened yesterday in London. Um, was it in the street, Downing Street? I don't know. But yeah, it's Tommy's rally, and he's had a few of them hearings now. I don't know how many he's had, maybe over the last 2 years or something. I don't know. I mean, I only became aware of them around about, well, the last 2 years, I would say. But it's it was a big success. I mean, I watched it on Dan Wooten's YouTube channel mostly, and I watched a few others just to get an idea of what was going on round about. So I'm really glad of the live streamers and stuff, because maybe we wouldn't even hear about it. This time it looked like legacy mainstream media did pay attention because it was the top of the Daily Mail and stuff, but I think they were saying there was trouble. That was their angle from what I saw. But to me, it looked like Britain of old. It looked like an Oasis concert or something. Just a Britain that doesn't really exist anymore, really. But it was fantastic. Um, so yeah, it looked a big success. I mean, on the day Tommy was talking, maybe 3 million were there. I don't know, but I don't think it was. I really don't know though. The police said about 100,000, but it looked like more than that to me. Although, how do you tell? And why doesn't anybody really know to give a really good estimate? You would think someone from above could be able to tell. But it was a big success, and the whole show was a success. Tommy was a great host, and they had a mix of music and stuff. They overran, and the council wouldn't let them go on any longer. Um, but it was a big success. It went on for about 5 hours or something, from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And I'm just amazed at the crowds, because people are a lot of them coming from outside London and stuff, and maybe coming from far away, even Scotland, and it really means a lot to them, really. So it's fantastic to see, and I would imagine most of these people are voters of the left traditionally. I would regard them as looking like the working class, traditional working class left. So really, it would be hard for the politicians to ignore them. I doubt Labour and that have said anything, but thingy. Reform did take notice. Usually they ignored it or said they don't want it to be associated with it, as Richard Tice said about the last one. This time the chairman done a tweet saying what a turnout or something. So that's very soft for them, but it shows that they're taking note. And Zia Yusuf actually said in a tweet, Today is a turning point." So I really hope it is. I hope so. I mean, by that, what I mean is I hope people are just going to start voting reform now as a protest vote, and then start voting advance, which are even better, because we should be voting on a single issue now. As Ben Habib said today, we're talking about existentialism now, really, of the country as we knew it, the country we loved. Um, so really, it has got to that, and they were even talking today, Ben Habib on Paul Thorpe's show. He was saying that this is our darkest times since 1939, which I would totally agree with as well, really. Um, yeah, so it went very well. Like I said, I watched the whole thing, and it was like watching Live Aid again. It was just, well, for me, it was uplifting, so I was enjoying it. I suppose a lot of people might not be enjoying it, they'd be the opposite. Um, I don't see how anyone could see the opposite, because does anyone want the Britain that we're going to become? And by that I mean anyone. I mean, in 2023, apparently 1.3 million newcomers came, and 90% of them were non-EU, I think. So 1.3 million in 1 year, and that was part of the Boris waves. They're all waiting to become citizens. You get your right to leave. For some reason, we do that. Many countries around the world don't do it at all. Yeah, somewhere like Dubai, I think you've got to wait 25 years or something to get unrated for citizenship. But here it's 5 years for some reason. I don't know why. I think Labour are making it maybe 7 years now. I don't know, but whatever it is, it should be stopped altogether, which is what Ben Habib wants to do as advance. He says he's going to give a halt to all this um, the day he takes office, and I think they could take office actually. I would say Ben is a fantastic speaker, and he's the best at being spot on the problem. I don't agree with anyone totally. I don't agree with the party system. I would prefer something like Switzerland where we can vote on issues. Because say something like green issues, energy, I would go for what Dale Vince says. So that would be the opposite of what Ben Habib thinks about energy probably. Whereas he says he wants to halt something, freeze something on day one of taking office, which I totally agree with. Um, I don't think even Reform are taking like that. So in fact, Ben Habib and even Jenrick are they're putting Reform to shame in a way, and they're having to keep up with Robert Jenrick and Ben Habib really. Um, and the other good thing about yesterday was some speakers were saying what I think needs to be said. Yeah, that Eva lady, who I know from X, yeah, she was saying that, and it's such a relief for people to start saying that now in public. I feel that we still can't say it on YouTube and stuff, but it makes common sense. In your personal life or in business, if you've made a mistake, you're going to stop it for a start, and you're going to see what you can do about it. Whereas with Labour and Conservatives over the last 75 years, it's as if we're all thinking we can't do anything about it, you know. And if you do want to be, then you will just be called names, called a name, basically. Even if nobody really wants the turnout. And by that I mean everyone. I don't think anyone really wants the way we're going to go, really. And there might even come a day where people look at Britain and say, well, I don't want to go there. It's not the Britain of old. I don't want to go there. So yeah, and the other thing, of course, Elon Musk appeared, and I thought he was great. Actually, I mean, I find him, what would be the word? I don't trust him as a person, that sort of thing. But on this issue, yeah, he's talking the right way. I mean, I feel he's talking a bit harder. He was talking a little bit, giving olive branches or something. No, that's not a right word, but when he was starting to talk about it. But now he's all in really, and his dad as well. I think his dad was there yesterday, and yeah, he was fantastic actually. I think he said really spot on about what he said about villages and all that. Maybe I don't know about the language of we'll need to defend ourselves or whatever. I don't know about that. Just as Ben Habib says, at the moment we can still peacefully sort of maybe do something. Yeah, because nobody wants anything. I know Professor David Betts says maybe in 5 years we could be in real trouble. And he's just saying that as a military expert, an expert on military history. He's not even saying it, as a political thing. Um, I think people often, when they hear him, they don't realise he's talking 5 years' time. And really, I don't know. I don't know. I think it could be. Really is. Anyway, yeah, Elon Musk was fantastic. So that was great to see. He was on for 20 minutes or something. Um, like I say, I'm not a fan of him as a person. Not that I really know him that well, but he seems a bit of a maverick. Sort of, I wouldn't want to work for him or do business with him or anything like that. Be a friend even. But he has done some really great things, like in energy. Is with his power walls and his solar panels. I don't know if he does solar panels, but solar panels and power wall, you can now really make your own home green and sell electricity. And with the virtual power plants, which you could be part of, uh, he's doing that. People are already doing that, other companies, but he's going to be like Apple. The iPhone came along, but we already had smartphones before that. but that was the Apple. So it's going to sort of do the thing for virtual power plants, and it means that you don't need power plants because they'll be actually using the solar and the battery of people's homes, and they'll be able to use it for their grid, um, and you'll get paid for it and stuff. So I mean, it's fantastic. Anyway, back onto this. Yeah, just notice. I mean, the people, like I say, let's say an Oasis concert, or where else? Glastonbury. That's what it looked like in a way. I mean, it was a bit rougher looking. It was really nice with all the Union Jacks and all that, and the saltires and flags of St George. I mean, it is ironic they've brought this community are united now, really, including even Northern Ireland nationalists and unionists. You know, they were coming and winning buses and stuff. They're united now on this. So really, they just look like working class Labour voters, former Labour voters, I would say. I think when Tommy asked the last time, they all said they were voting Reform, but I think they're going to switch to Advance, and rightly so. I would say at the moment, vote Reform because it's all that there is. But once Advance come about, make Advance your first choice, but look at your constituency and see which one of those two are going to get in. You know, because really it's single issue protest vote at the moment, so only one thing matters. So vote on a single issue. And if you've got a council by-election coming up, you're really blessed because you can make an issue of that. And Reform won 4 out of 6 council by-elections this week, including one in Wales, which is a huge, typical Labour area. Yeah, and there was the other side, you know, stand up to the whatever. And I saw 2 guys talking about it on YouTube, and they said there was about 15,000. Was Google Gemini says about 5,000. I would think probably that. But the 2 guys on YouTube, was something Hammer, Socialist Hammer, or something like that. I mean, they were really interesting here, and they were saying it was a total defeat for their side because their side was so small. You know, because they were all told to turn up, and the other side was so big. You know. Um, yeah, so it was really interesting watching those two. I don't know. It looked as if they were talking from a uni library or something. But yeah, so that's really good to hear. So it's getting to that momentum point where I think the the community, the natives, who have been anxious about this and wanting to vote, but they've been scared because they'll get called the R word by Labour and SNP and Greens, etc., especially. But they've been anxious about it, and now they're just deciding to go for it. They can't, probably because of those hotel protests and the pink ladies and stuff like that. That's made it all acceptable. I would say to anybody, just vote Reform Advance at the moment, you know, especially if you vote Greens, SNP, Labour. You've got to get the message across one issue. Yeah, so, and there was a bit of trouble, but from what I've seen on videos, it's been hard to tell. I mean, it seemed to be at the end there was a bit of trouble, the way the police were clearing people, because they were using their cautious and stuff, and they had their all their riot gear out, which they don't usually have, I don't think, for the other types of protests. Um, Maybe they needed it, I don't know, because looking at some of the crowd, they looked a bit, just slightly unruly, not much though, but I'm surprised about how. I mean, most of them were really well behaved by the looks of it, and in general, fully. I mean, there was some bottles thrown, which was disappointing. At the actual core of the thing, there was no trouble by the looks of it. I mean, that area is not big enough to hold their rallies anymore. I think Tommy said he wanted Hyde Park, but they weren't allowed it or something. But they'll need something like that because is that the street just that goes down and then down the street's an offshoot of it? I don't know if that's where they held it, but lots of people I think were just standing in the other streets because they couldn't get near it, you know. Um, yeah, but really, I don't know how you could focus on the trouble. If you watched it on Dan Wootton's thing, you wouldn't even know there was any. The whole thing was really well run, and it had a lot of Western world speakers, I suppose you could call them, from Holland. I mean, the good speakers for me were Eva, Ben Habib. I mean, there was a lot of good speakers. I can't remember most of them now, but I think they were two important ones for the messages they were saying, either for a new aspect of it, and Lawrence Fox said that some of his stuff about that as well. So I think he's maybe moved along from what he used to say a bit, so which is good. Um, yeah, and there was a Polish politician. He was good as well on the issue. Uh, yeah, one thing about it I would say is because of Charlie Kirk being killed this week and being assassinated, and on the Friday there was a vigil for Charlie Kirk in London, and the crowd started chanting. It was quite I don't know, 500,000 people, maybe more, I don't know, but started chanting "Christ is King," and I hope we don't start with this making that sort of religious thing, you know, like they have in America, where it's a sort of religious thing to do with the conservative right, Trumpism. Um, hope it doesn't go that way. I have to say, if it does, I'm not bothered at this point, because really I think we're all atheists, really, to be honest. I know we need some sort of identity, but I don't think that's it. But and when you look at the evangelical stuff in America, I don't think it's very something that I want to be interested in. I mean, would Jesus have guns? Their theory as he would. I really think he would be the opposite, to be honest. But I think it's all mythology anyway. So yeah, I hope it doesn't go that way. It might actually, but I don't know. I mean, I can't remember. There was a bit of chanting. I don't really like that Kier chant either. Not not because I'm glad that they don't like Kier, but I think it sort of belittles the movement. But I would rather they chanted something like "Say it loud, say it clear, Labour not welcome here." To show that they're Labour aren't welcome. Uh, yeah. And what else have I got to say? I was just asking Gemini there about it. They're saying between 110,000 and 150,000 attended United Kingdom March. And well done to Tommy now. I mean, it was really, really well turned out. Even the little intros they had for everybody, the video intros, and Katie Hopkins was there. It was really good to see everyone. Liam Tufts. Yeah, I've seen all these because personally I just watch YouTube now. I don't watch legacy mainstream media at all. So I don't know how the mainstream news tell these stories, or even the Daily Mail. I don't really watch that much now, or GB News, funny enough, which I still respect to an extent. At least some of their anchors and that, like Patrick Christie's, Martin Dobney, Nigel Farage, even, and what's the other guy, Matt Goodwin. I think they're useful, very useful. So, and it's saying here a smaller counter protest march against, and they're always using these violent imagery words, intolerant words, attracted 5,000 people, and I think even there was a little women's thing there, but it really didn't get turnouts. I think one community has just had enough. The community used to vote Labour and Tory. I think it's getting to that point soon. I really hope so. And all you can do now at the moment is vote Reform or Advance, preferably Advance. I don't believe in parties, but at the moment, single issue, Advance is the best out of a lot of them. So, and also you're being told by the others that you're not allowed to vote for these. You're not allowed to vote on this issue. Really, we should have voted this in the early 70s. We've had chances. We were too nice. Really, that was a problem. And because of our electoral system as well. Um, our electoral system, first past the post. It might have, but even in the ones that are using proportional representation, which is really every other European country, people are still too afraid to vote for this. It's getting close, in places like even Norway had a big move towards it the other day. Monday they had an election. Um, yeah, but it's really, I really hope people start voting on one issue, because that's all that matters at the moment. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. It was a big success. And I really hope it's a turning point, Um, like I say, all you need to do at the moment, if you get a council by-election coming up, vote reform at the moment, advance when they come around. Um, yeah, because our electoral system, we're the only ones in Europe that do first past the post, except for Belarus. And what do Labour keep telling us about the European Court of Human Rights? If we withdrew from it, we'd be the only ones not in it, apart from Russia and Belarus. So, it's just us and Belarus that have this voting system. So, Keir Starmer's okay with that. I mean, it's looking now as if they're going to kick Keir out his own side. I don't know how they're staying with him, really. He is a total calamity in every aspect. I mean, we're meant to think he's competent, but I don't even think he's competent, really. Just nothing. His judgment, um, his beliefs, the way he handles people, it's just. I mean, to me, he's like the same as Trump, in that Trump we've always to think present tense that he's totally competent and he's the one to. If things are going bad, we need him. If things are going good, it's his fault. It's him. You know, to me, Trump's just a joke, but so's Keir Starmer. I mean, Keir Starmer would say he's nothing like Trump, but I think he's exactly like him in terms of competence. He's not like him in terms of uh, badness, but he is in actual competence. That is a sort of trust me, I'm totally competent. I don't trust you at all in any aspect. So I think Labour are starting to wake up to that now, the MPs. I can't see how any MP likes him. I don't know if he's got any support at all. They're talking now that Lucy Powell's seen as she's going for deputy leader. She's seen as a proxy for Andy Burnham to come back. I don't know. But I don't think anything can save Labour because of this one issue. Nothing can save the left or the Tories because of this issue. The Tories might get a bit tougher on it, they are already, but not enough. Because really we need a total halt to it. And then we need to click and say, is it going to be good going forwards? And we could use sort of a key thing to judge would be women's rights. SNP seem to think that women's rights is going to improve by the way that we're changing. To me, looking at the countries around the world, because it might be hard to believe for a lot of British people, but there's a lot of, probably in most countries, the people there don't want to live in the countries by the look of it. And the only reason that people should be moving, in my opinion, is for beautiful warm countries, because no country should be poor now. If you saw Japan after World War II, it became the second biggest economy, like 20, 30 years later. They've never asked for reparations or for being nuclear bombed or anything. Meanwhile, we're letting Africa into the G20. We're letting the African Union in and they're asking for reparations. What they're saying is, we haven't made flourishing economies. This is how we're viewing it. We're not saying thank you for letting us in or anything. It looks like the people in the beautiful warm countries don't seem to want to live there. They don't seem to like living there. So you've got to remember that. Yeah. So that's it. So yesterday was a great success. My only downside about these things is that there's so few of them. Maybe he says he's going to have a part two because some didn't get to talk. I mean, certainly one every 6 months, I think, but I think even sooner than that. One every 3 months. I know it takes a lot to organise it, especially all the resistance they're probably getting from councils and stuff. But it's almost getting to that point where the councils now realise, okay, we need to do this for a big part of our community. And also that flag flying thing helped, I think, as well, because we're all meant to like the flag. Everybody loves British citizenship. That's in this debate. And the flag of Britain is our identity for everyone. that's get citizenship. And you see it all the time in TikTok videos of people coming, before they get citizenship. You see it all the time, the flag. The flag's very important to them. They usually get dual flags, and once they become citizens, perhaps the Union Jack will get dropped. Or usually it's kept in, depending, but that's the other flag's probably not going to get dropped at all. Yeah, but as I say, in personal life, business life, if people make mistakes, then they do something about it. At the moment, Tories and Labour are saying you can't do anything about this. We've got to keep going. It's going to be utopia. It's not a mistake. So, yeah, that's all you can do at the moment. In council by-election, join YouGov in the political polls. Just pick reform. And if they ask you what three things what are you worried about at the moment, just pick the one issue. Don't pick any other. Don't dilute it. Okay, that's all for now. Bye bye.